So each year goes by, and I seem to make more and more plaques. This year, I tripled my order for the Joplin Section Road Rangers. I was making them 14 plaques a year, and so I was doing them one at a time. Well, they upgraded to second and third place on me. So having to do this in a different manner this way just to save me some sanity and some time. So to get this thing to change and to give me the new uh, information for 2024, I just, of course, just changed this tag. But to reset this file for any changes and anything that I would do, I would go down here to this uh, original file, and I would just click the profile tags that are part of the originals. Anything with an S in front of it was created separate, and it was created by the program. So we're going to clean this thing up and get it started from fresh. We're going to click delete all invisible, and it's telling me that it's going to go through there and clean up a lot of these toolpaths. And some of them toolpaths are used on different sheets, but right now it's going through there and it's cleaning up. There's 42 plaques in here, so let's go ahead and clean up our layers as well. So that on your layer sheet, for example, let's go over here 2D view, and this has got our layers showing up. So there's our third sheet, and you'll notice that the tags changed. Still got that year up there, and we're going to turn them off. Anyway, I need to clean this up because I'm updating my information, and this has this information in here, and this has this information in here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all the invisible layers, and we're going to delete the data on it. And this is going to set this file back to basically, just a simple design file. And so now we have just the one layer, and it's pretty simple. In designing this right here, we'll go over here to text, and we'll change that date as always to the latest date, and that would be the first thing that we would say. Okay, and then these are our toolpaths. Carves the emblem, that takes about 30 minutes. There's our tag that will change. This is our comma delimited import file. That's our tag, and then this is the chamfer that goes around the outside of that. Now this year I'm going to probably router them and not use that one, so we'll keep that going on there. So okay, so in this we've only got the one layer, and we're wanting to go to plate production tool now. So what I would do is go in here and select all this information right here. Go over to the plate production tool. Oops, let's go into plate production. All right, there we go. And a few things in here. This is the sheet size. It's 5 by 7. The plate size is 5 by 7 because that will match it, and it's going to create a sheet for each one of them. Left margin, you need to make sure that it's set at 0. Otherwise, it'll put an offset in there, and you have to go back in there and change them. And we're not going to do any spacing, number of plates. We're going to create the taskbar. This thing right here, let me just go ahead and delete this information out of this file just to show you how we can get it back in there. And I didn't quite do that just right, but anyway, let's go ahead and delete it. So the file is empty. We're going to import from file, and this is information. This is John Strawn information for 42 plaques, and it's just a text file. So we're going to import that information and click open, and it puts that information in there. If you just create a text file, put like 1 comma and then your heading and comma, and you separate them by a comma, then that will allow you to do that. You can also just type in the information in here and separate it by a comma. So then when we get that done, it's comma delimited. You can use Excel, different databases to import, but generally it's going to do a comma tab, and I just create them to a comma delimited because that's so easy, and there's no information. It can't have any special characters in there, just plain old text and commas that separate each field. And then we go down here to your text file, and what this is doing is it's going field 1. The first field, the numbers are field 0. The second field is field 1, and the third one is actually field 2. So we're going to look at that and click field 1. All right, and then field 2, like that. And then we're going to tell it to calculate. So I've got these set up for field 2. field 1, and this is all good. So we're going to go ahead and calculate. It's going to create all these tool paths for these 42 plaques. And it's going down through here and doing this, and it'll take it a little while to do that. As it's doing that, go get your cup of coffee, because it is writing 42 sheets, and it's on each one of them sheets. It's got 5 tool paths that it's writing, so it has some work to do and to cut out and get that going. You really can't do anything else until this is done. So that's really what we're up to, and so we'll get that going. A little bit about the this is a major time saver. The plate production, you can just go in and get it done. Now, with me going from one plaque on a layout, this has caused me to rethink this a little bit and say, hey, I need to do a little something different. And I would like to be able to set it up where I can put, 12 plaques on my 24 by 24 CNC, and that it carve out those 12 plaques in one setting. So I thought about it a little while, and I thought, okay, we can do this. And so I basically copied the one plaque, and then I put it into an array, and I separated the array, and it created the settings to put, basically 4 rows, and then 3 columns, and it created those placeholders for it. And then what I did is I put some herringbones or fillets in the corners to allow me to be able to easily get the plaques out, and to get a screwdriver in there if I need to. And then I cut that into a piece of 1/4 inch floor underlayment, and that is my jig holder. And I use a lot of that 1/4 inch floor underlayment as a jig holder. It allows stuff to be positioned exactly right, and it gives it a little bit of stability. And then you just generally need some kind of a hold down. So in this case, I went with a hold down of brass washers and brass screws, and then on the sides I went with just a pine board that holds the edges of the plaques down on the very edge on the sides. So and that's been working real well. At this time I've carved almost 40 plaques using this setup, so it works good. And if you look down here in this corner down here, we're at basically 31 plaques. So we got another 12 to go, and it'll go through there and create them and that kind of thing. So at the same time, like I said, it's creating layers and it's creating sheets. So it's very, very, very intensive. You can hear the computer fan sometimes kick in because it's having to do lots of processing. And I made a mistake of doing this to a thumb drive and trying to calculate this to a thumb drive, and it really got slow. So, keep that in mind, that, if you're doing it to a thumb drive, which a lot of times I will in the small files, but in this case, we're just using it in that like that. And we're up to about 36 sheets and that kind of thing. So let's move on to where we're at with the jig. I basically take my jig, and I have 2 jig boards. I have an MDF sheet that's bolted to the table, a sharp table with nylon bolts, and then I have on top of that glued with Type Bond 3 wood glue a piece of particle board that's about 3/4 inch. So that brings me up about 1.5 inches to the top. Then on top of that, I lay down a spool board, which is 1/4 inch plywood. I try and get the cheapest Luan that I can get, because it's going to be carved up, and I'll tack that down on top of that with 23 gauge pin nails. And I use like some 1/2 inch pin nails, and I think I'll get 100 pin nails in it. And those pin nails don't seem to affect the cutters. It just doesn't affect them. They're just soft enough where it just doesn't even pay attention to them. So that works good. And every now and then I'll machine the top of the table from the screws and things and go that. Okay, so this thing created all them. We're going to click close, and if you look here under your layers, you have all your sheets now that have been created. There's 42 sheets. You look down here into your tool paths. There's a whole bunch of tool paths, and basically when I created this, I could have probably saved some time by not creating all of them. I just really needed to create this separate deal and just the one, because what I do is I keep the master of the first sheet, which is S1, S2, and this is sheet 1. I'll use all them. The only thing that I'll change out is the VCarve text at the bottom. So I'll go down through here and group all of the bottoms in there, and of course I don't use any of this, which I could, but I don't use any of it, and you know, that kind of thing. So there's our sheet right there. I'm going to go over here and preview the visible toolpaths and go over here to preview mode, 3D preview mode, and we'll turn off, reset the preview, let's see here. Let's go with that one, that one, that one, and that one, and the chamfer, which we don't really need that, but we'll look at it. So, okay, we'll click reset and preview the visible, and so there we are. That's our plaques, and this works out good. Now, the only thing that I really run into was, you know, thinking, man, I got to do a whole bunch more of this good stuff, and so I created a sheet of the inlays and the jig pass to do that. And as you can see, when I deleted all those settings, that I deleted all the toolpaths off of my other sheets. So that was a no-no, and that's a lesson not to do that again for this next year. So I'm going to load up the original file and paste that information back in there and load that, and not delete those toolpaths for that jig, because when I did that, I deleted that information off of there. So let me go back and do that, and this is a lesson to be learned. After pulling out a little snafu, I basically deleted all my toolpaths that I needed for the borders. I didn't really care about the inside ones, but the borders for this and for the keyboard toolpaths, I went ahead and deleted all those, which is not very smart of me to do that. And so anyway, so this will be a lesson for me in the next year that you don't want to do that. Of course, you always do a backup file so that you can always import or go back and say, okay, I really messed that up. And it's easier to go back and do that, because this data, it will recreate that information. So anyway, I was talking about these key bones, or the fillets, the corner, and the jig and the columns. So I created all that with the array tools. I talked about that a little bit. And then I created a toolpath for the keyhole saw, and it's just basically a keyhole setup, and there's that, and basically it's all it is, just a rectangular box that has a beginning and an end, and so it starts here, comes down here, and goes right back and stops, and you just use the keyhole, and that works out good. So that's pretty easy to set up. So it's not that big a deal. And then I just put that across that. Sometimes I'll just flip the plaques in when I was doing one at a time. I'll just click, and it takes 10 seconds to do that. So I probably won't use this so much. I'll probably put that to one toolpath in this one corner, and just flip them real quick, because it only takes it a minute to run it. I mean, 10 seconds. And then it'll run it, and then I can flip it. So I will probably do that, because I can just about have all of them cut by the time I get them all screwed down and held down. So we'll see, and come see what I come up with on that. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're at. And then when I get done with this, I'll open this one group up, and when I open that group up, you will find that, let me go ahead and go with this sheet right here. Open this one group up, and let's see here. Oops, sorry. Okay, there's my group there. And with that one file, I have it set up to centering on this one sheet. So basically, I can put this anywhere. So if I want to, I can put the plaque in any one of these holes, in any one of these slots, and then center it off of that, and then it will cut the tag. So what this has is, it has its group tags, and so it's going to carve the bottom text, and of course I have it grouped with the top. But anyway, so this is the sheets that I would be saving to my thumb drive, and so all these I would just save to the thumb drive, and it's going to put this information down there, and then I can cut that. So it works out good because um, you know the sheet name will be on there, and will let me know which one of those. And then generally when I'm doing the plaque, I'll write the number on there so that if I make a snafu, I can go, okay, that's 37 or that's 38 or whatever. So that's kind of how that's going, and I think I've pretty well covered most of it. And let's get to that. In on that sheet, basically I have uh, up here, I've got all these sheets up here. Let me go up here to the layer, turn that off, and to get this to just produce the plaques, up here on this part, let me go ahead and turn all that off. Okay, so just to produce this part and to make it work, I go from the bottom left and grab those two. So I've got the edge selected, that selected. I go down here to my plate production tool, and of course I got all that settings the same as before. I click on those two ones right there, and then I calculate. And then what that did is that calculated this list here, which was the outside chamfer and the place. So now I'm going to export this to we're just going to save this on my thumb drive. We're going to make a new folder for it, and we're going to call it, because this is where I'm going to be machining these. So we're going to put it down here on my thumb drive, the card thumb drive, and we're going to call it new folder and plaques. And then inside this plaques, I'm going to we're going to copy all these files over here. So I'm going to save that in there. And this is just a temporary file that I will export out. That's all it is, just the bottom text only. And that's what I'm going to do is I've saved the file in there. We're going to export all these toolpaths, and I'm going to save those toolpaths to the file. And it's basically going through here, and it's calculating them. So once it gets all that done, we'll go to town. Now I can take these and just group them, and basically grouped all these files, and so they're all set in there. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to save these toolpaths, visual tools to multiple files, and we're going to have it go down through here using the right post processor. Click save. We're going to put it into a folder called testy under plaques. Put it right in there, and I'm going to click save. Let's check it. See what we got in there. Plaques, testy, and there are all our file names with our plaque numbers. So the underline, and then plaque 1, plaque 2, plaque 3, plaque 4. So that set that all up. And then what I did is I took this data and I created, I had 42 plaques. So I said, okay, I'm going to put 7 plaques in each folder. And I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for some reason, 42 got in there. But anyway, but the rest of them were on numerical order. So when I was burning, I just basically burnt the plaque and put a Sharpie on the back side of it to, signify which one of these plaques it was. So plaque 20 and so on. And then I knew, when I get those done and get to that point, then I would, go up a directory and open the new directory and do that. So this way I wouldn't have to scroll through a bunch of windows. I could just do it that way. So this made this easier to do it this way, and that's how I was able to, get those down to or simplified. So it was a whole lot easier to just, group your tags and then do the save as, use the file name as a, underscore to try and simplify it, and that worked out pretty well. So let's go ahead and get on with the rest of this. All right, well, here they are. They're down to the finished product, and they came out pretty good. My little V-carb bit is getting a little bit dull. It's a 60-degree bit, and I've had it for like three years, almost 4 years. Anyway, so it's getting a little bit dull. I need to look at getting another one. But anyway, there's 42 plaques laid out here, and these are out here on the old